building that has 200 total units, as well as two smaller buildings that are 3 stories in height with 24 units each. And bear with me for just a moment. Charles, that might be like an older version of it.
This is what we had in the thing.
Okay.
Because this has the.
Okay, that
Here's
one's
one.
good, yeah. So this does kind of show in detail what we're here to ask for. So we had made some changes to this project along the way, the most significant change being rotating of that larger building. And in doing so, one of the things that we really wanted to make certain we had, and it was even brought up at an earlier planning commission, was adequate parking to serve these apartment units. So when we rotated this building, we kind of went through the whole site and identified, well, how can we be certain that we have enough parking for the guests? And the way to accomplish that was in your land development code or in your code, there's a requirement to have a landscape island every 13 or 14 spaces, as I remember, in a row of parking. So there was really only a few areas throughout the development that we had some of these islands internally, and the primary one being to the north of that larger building. You can kind of see that gray area there with no islands. And Charles, if you don't mind moving back, you can even see the island there that was kind of removed, just that one right in the middle. So if you don't mind to go back now. So we did keep the islands at the ends of the driving bays. I think that is important from a design standpoint because it protects that row of cars. However, we did pull out a few islands throughout the site in some of those internal rows just to add in a few more spaces. Every space counts in a project like this. So the variance that we're requesting is to eliminate that requirement. And then to mitigate that, the trees that would have been provided in those islands, that is certainly still important. So those trees have just been pushed out to the edge of the parking bays. It'll still provide some of that shade and coverage to soften that. And then additionally, I'll make the case, the reason for that requirement, in my opinion, is for much bigger projects, like if you had a big box store or say a large employer and they had a large, massive parking lot. So it is certainly less noticeable when you have these smaller parking lots that are kind of compartmentalized the way we've done it. But nonetheless, that's really what we're asking for tonight. With that said, I'll be happy to answer any other questions you may have about the project or elaborate more on that.
Okay. Charles, can you go back to the other slide you had that showed the number of units? Okay, so we're looking at, it's 2 buildings with 24 units each, so 248 units total in the development, correct?
That's correct.
How many parking spaces are you looking to have?
We have
One of the slides had that.
Was it 407?
Yeah,
What was it?
407.
407 total.
Right, right there.
Okay, so almost 2 per unit.
Almost 2 per
Okay.
unit, yeah.
Okay.
And I believe the zoning code says something about 2 per unit plus 1 per every 7. But
So the reason this is less than that requirement is when we came in and did the rezoning, we created the PUD for this site. And we tailored that specifically for this site. In that rewrote document where we kind of established our own code, for lack of a better way to say it, we actually set that at 1.5 spaces per unit. We've had success in other projects at that number, but nonetheless, at Planning Commission, it was brought up the very first time. Is 1.5 truly enough? We've looked at it more, and Floyd has certainly spent some time on it at some of their other sites. So we bumped that up, and we're actually at 1.64 spaces per unit. So we've exceeded our version of the code and tried to get closer to that 2 per unit kind of threshold.
Okay. And any green space that you're going to have in those islands that you're eliminating, you said you were going to put those, they're still going to be in a buffer zone.
We are moving the plantings to the perimeter, green space wise, and I have it on the plan if you need me to dig it out, but we were well under the threshold that we had set, so we certainly have the green space still on site as well.
Okay. Any more questions from the board?
There's no expected effect on like stormwater or flooding. I know that sometimes that can be used as like a barrier to stall like streams and stuff like that. I forget what that's called. off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
well, and that's the nice thing, as I said, with this type of design where you have your smaller parking fields versus one big massive parking lot out in front of, say, a Walmart, or not to pick on Walmart, let's just say a big box retailer.
Okay.
In that scenario, it certainly makes a lot of sense to have those islands to provide some of the shading, minimize some of that runoff and things like that. Because these parking lots are so small, we can just move those trees out to the edge. Doesn't affect the water sheet flowing across the parking lots or impact how we collect it. And then additionally, as part of this project, it was mentioned last time, the blue you see there along Highway 62, that is our detention basin, but it's also being kind of built as an amenity, so it'll have water in it with a fountain, and then it'll collect the water and allow it to be stored there.
Excellent. So this might have been something else that was addressed when you came before the planning commission. The bicycle parking requirements that are in the original code, but was that ever brought up? I didn't see where it would be in your all's current plans.
I honestly don't remember that we addressed it as part of our PUD.
Okay.
And I don't know what that requirement is.
It was on page 69. It's 1 for every 3 units, which is a lot of, that's a lot.
That does seem
It's like 70
excessive.
plus.
Usually what we do, and Clayton, I don't recall if we have this captured on this plan or not, but in most multifamily developments that we work on as consultants, we'll put a bike rack at the clubhouse for 4 or 5 bike spaces. And then outside of that, bike storage is just internal to the actual units.
Okay.
So we can take a look at that and work with Tony, and if we need to make sure we capture that bike parking there at the clubhouse area, we can certainly do that.
Any other questions?
No, that's all I had.
Okay, any question, anyone else? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comment from anyone regarding this? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Go ahead.
Normally, this would come with a recommendation, right? Or it's something like that? Is-
No, the B, you're talking about a recommendation to the council?
Maybe that's what I'm
No,
confused
no,
on.
that's
Okay.
only for the B, that's only for the plan commission. The BZA is the final authority on variance.
Gotcha, thank you.
So I will entertain a motion to either approve or deny the requested variance.
I'll make that motion.
And we have a first motion to approve, correct?
Yes, sir.
From Mr. Bergen, and a second from Mr. Walden. Do we have any more discussion? All right, all in favor of approving it, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes carry it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming and presenting that. And having no other business for this meeting, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Can't get it out. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make it.
Thank you, Mr. Bergen. Do I hear a second?
Nobody wants to leave.
Nobody wants to leave. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second from Mr. Walden. All in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank
You guys know you don't get paid by the hour.
No, I don't get paid by the meetings.
You don't get paid anyway.